Hey, everybody. Before we get started this week, I want to thank you sincerely for helping the show cross a milestone that's really important to me. And that is the million downloads mark. On Tuesday of this week, that is the week of November 18th, we crossed over the 1 million downloads mark lifetime in just over 3 years. So I want to thank you sincerely because this was a show that it was just kind of a side project for me, and I didn't think it would do anything or go anywhere. I thought maybe it would help like bring in some traffic to my online courses, and it's taken off and it's its own thing now. Um, and I'm really happy with the way it's turned out. So thank you again. To celebrate a million downloads, I am giving away some things. You could win a Rode Pod mic, which you'll hear about in the last episode of this season coming up in a couple of weeks. I'm giving away a annual subscription to Opt-in Monster, Starfish Reviews from our former guest Tevya. He's giving away a few licenses, a lifetime membership to my own courses. You can be a guest on the show, or you can get a 30-minute consulting call with yours truly if you have questions about podcasting or anything. So if you want to enter this giveaway, it's running until December 5th. You can enter over at howibuilt.it/giveaway. So once again, 1 million downloads, incredible. Thank you. I wouldn't be able to do it without you, the guests or the sponsors. The support I've gotten for the show over the last 2 years has been incredible. Thank you so much. So now let's get on with this bonus episode. So the holidays are coming up, and while everybody is probably doing their gift guide episode, I decided to do the same thing. For a bunch of years now, I have been putting out my gift guides over at casabona.org. You can go to casabona.org/gifts-guides, or if you go to howibuilt.it/gifts, it'll all be there. So that's howibuilt.it/gifts. So I've been doing 3 or 4 gift guides I've been maintaining. Gift guides for remote workers or people who work from home, the gift guide for podcasters, the gift guide for web developers, the gift guide for cigar smokers, and then my friend Jim put together a gift guide for pipe smokers. This year I only updated 2. Those are the top performing ones, and frankly, I'm getting rid of the web designers one. And I'll explain why in a second. But the gift guide for podcasters is updated for 2019, and the gift guide for people who work from home has been updated. Got a big update for people for 2019. And I am getting rid of the web designers, web developers one because there's a lot of overlap between that one and the gifts for people who work from home. The only main differences were basically hosting, which I don't know how many people are actually gifting hosting. For it'd be weird if my wife got me like Pantheon hosting for Christmas. And then there were like books to learn stuff from and online courses, but aside from that, the gift guides were very similar. So in this episode, I want to run through some of the highlights of these gift guides. There will be links in the show notes again over at howibuilt.it/gifts. And then you can find the gift guides over at casabona.org as well. So let's get into it. I've broken the gift guide down, each gift guide down into various categories. But for this episode, because I'm going to be talking a little bit about both, we're going to go over recording gear, home office gear, tech gear, and analog tools. Those are the 4 main topics that I'm going to cover here. So let's start with the recording gear. In both guides, I mentioned that you should have a good microphone. If you work from home, you're probably doing a lot of video calls, so you're going to want to have a good microphone. That microphone, the one that I recommend in my podcasting courses and most of the time, is the ATR 2100. It is a simple microphone. It is less than $70, and it is a USB and XLR microphone. So if you want to upgrade, you can do that with the ATR 2100. If you want to get a sample of what that can sound like next to my professional Shure SM7B microphone, listen to episode 147. That's the one where my wife did the interview side for my guest Svetlana, who is deaf. So you can hear how my wife sounds in the ATR 2100, and right next to it how I sound in the Shure SM7B. I think you'll see that in most cases, the ATR 2100 does a really good job. So that's the one I would recommend. Then there's the webcam portion, right? So if you work from home or if you want to do a video podcast, you should have a good microphone, a good webcam. So using a good webcam clutch for video calls, I will usually recommend the Logitech C920 because that falls perfectly between price and quality. It's an HD 1080p webcam, gets the job done. I am using the Logitech Brio, which is a 4K webcam. It's pretty good. I think the iPhone, honestly, the iPhone 11 Pro shoots better, but this is connected to my computer. I can use my microphone and without jumping through hoops. So I'll recommend the Logitech Brio. The only caveat for the Brio is that you need to make sure you are using the appropriate USB-C/Thunderbolt cable and that you are plugging it into an appropriate Thunderbolt port. Because it's pushing 4K, the computer you're using needs to support 4K. I'm on the iMac Pro, the ports support 4K, but if you're using a PC or a MacBook Pro or a different iMac, make sure you're plugging it into the right port because that is going to make a big difference. So those are the two that I recommend as pretty good beginner first microphone and webcam. If you're looking for an upgraded microphone, I will generally recommend the Rode Procaster. I'm using the Shure SM7B. I love it, but that is a very pricey microphone for just taking video calls or doing general recording. So the Rode Procaster is, I think, a good upgraded pick. The Procaster is an XLR microphone. The Rode Podcaster is the same microphone as USB. If you are going to go with an XLR microphone, you are going to need an XLR cable to connect your microphone to an interface, which is a separate box that converts the XLR to USB. And that interface that I recommend is the Focusrite Scarlett Solo. It is a $100 interface. It's great. It gets the job done. It's on its third iteration now. It was my first interface, and I'm a big fan of it. So if you're looking to upgrade that loved one's microphone setup, the Rode Procaster plus the Focusrite Scarlett Solo is a good pick. Now, I will say that the Rode PodMic is out. It's hard to find, but it is out. And that's supposed to be like the podcaster's mic to end all podcasters mic. At $99, it's super affordable. That's the one I'm giving away in the giveaway. So I'm going to pick one up for the giveaway winner as well as for me. And I will do a test with that microphone to see how good it is. But that is also an XLR microphone, so you'll need to get the interface anyway. Then there are accessories for the recording stuff. If you're watching the video, I'm using a boom arm. It is the Rode PSA 1 swivel boom arm, but there's a more basic boom arm that you can get for like $13 by Neve. That's linked in the gift guide. That's just a nice way to keep the microphone out of the way if you need to type, or if you hit the desk a lot, the boom arm will make sure that vibration isn't getting there. So that is the recording gear that I would recommend. Just to recap it again, this is all in the gift guides, of course, but just to recap it again, decent mic, the ATR 2100, I think it's a great beginner mic. The webcam is the Logitech C920. It's a 1080p webcam, better in most cases than what's built into the computer. If you're looking to upgrade that loved one setup, then the Logitech Brio is a good upgrade pick for the webcam. And there, I gave you a few options for an upgraded microphone. The one that I would generally recommend right now is the Rode Procaster with the Focusrite Scarlett Solo, but the Rode PodMic is a more affordable option if you can find it. So the last thing I want to cover here in recording gear is a good set of headphones. Again, if you're watching the video, you see I'm wearing the ATH M50Xs. Those are really good monitoring headphones. They are wired, so they need to plug into the computer, but I have used these for years and I'm a huge fan. I also just picked up the AirPods Pro, noise canceling earbuds. I use them on a plane and stuff like that, and I thought they were fantastic. I have a video on my YouTube channel on how to, on what I think of that. So AirPods Pro, I'm a big fan. The AirPods in general are, I think, really good wireless headphones. So if you're looking for, if you don't want to quite spend $250 on a pair of headphones, the AirPods, the second generation AirPods are also really good. Okay, so let's move on from recording gear, even though I could talk about recording gear all day. And let's talk about the home office stuff, all right? So especially for people who work from home, the comforts of home are really important. You want to have a nice home office area since you're spending most of your time there. And so the first thing I want to point out is a bit of a productivity tool. It's new this year. I just picked it up. I think it's a little blown out in the video, but it's right over here. Just off video, actually, like right here. I'll link to it in the show notes though. It's called the Focused Calendar. It is a wall calendar. It's a year wall calendar. So it gives you a fantastic bird's eye view of what's going on, and it's going to let me plan out a year's worth of projects, or it's broken down into quarters. So if I only want to do the next quarter, I can do that too. So there's one on my wall right now. I'm really excited to use it. I think it's going to improve my planning, as well as my wife will be able to come to the office and see when I'm traveling and what I have planned. So it'll be a nice kind of family thing too. So that's the first thing I wanted to point out. It's like $29. Great gift for anybody who works from home or has the wall space and needs to plan out a bunch of stuff. As far as the comforts from home, or comforts of home, good coffee. When you work from home, you are your own barista. So good coffee and a good coffee maker are a must. I have an AeroPress that I really like. AeroPress is a super affordable single serving coffee maker. So if my wife's not home, I will just use the like if she goes to work earlier in the morning and doesn't make coffee or something like that, I will use the AeroPress and just make myself a good cup of coffee. Now, if you're looking for something more heavy duty, there's an espresso. We have a Hamilton Beach model, just like a standard coffee pot coffee maker. This one is like a big iron thing. The burner's not on the bottom, so it's not going to burn the coffee over time. I'll link that. That's not in the gift guide. I will link it in the show notes though. Now, if somebody is using an AeroPress, they probably love coffee. They probably buy their own beans. And so I would recommend finding a good coffee grinder. I have the Baratza Encore Conical Burr coffee grinder. It was recommended by Wirecutter. I use that. It's great. I'm a big fan of that. I do have, we subscribe to like a couple of coffee places. So we get beans monthly, and I like grinding my own coffee, and this is a great coffee grinder. If you are wondering about beans, Rook Coffee is relatively close to me here on the East Coast. They're in northern New Jersey. They make phenomenal coffee. I send it to friends and they rave about it. I'm also a big fan of Carlin Brothers Coffee. If you are a Disney or Harry Potter fan, you may have heard of the Super Carlin Brothers. They have a fan theory channel on YouTube. It's really good. They recently started their own coffee company. Interesting vertical to get into based on YouTube. But I got to tell you, the coffee is really good. My wife loves it too, and she doesn't usually like that gourmet, like premium coffee. So Carlin Brothers Coffee or Rook Coffee are the ones that I would recommend. So once you have the coffee squared away, I don't know what your morning routine is like, but I like to get my coffee squared away and then, time to put on real clothes for the day. Putting on real clothes when you work from home is a bit of a challenge, right? If you don't have to. I drop my daughter off at daycare every morning, so I have a quote unquote commute, but it also means I have to put real clothes on. So you want to make sure, working from home is means being comfortable, and sweats and t-shirts are great, but it's also good to have some nice clothes for when you need to get out of the house. This year, I discovered Untuck It. So they make men's shirts. I've started upgrading my wardrobe to that. They are really nice, comfortable button-down shirts that you don't need to tuck in. I'm a bigger guy, so I'm always kind of uncomfortable in button-down shirts and self-conscious. Well, Untuck It has solved all that. I'm a really, really big fan. If you go to untuckit.com, they have lots of shirts, lots of styles, sweaters, Henleys, and all sorts of things. So really, really big fan of Untuck It. If you are a guy and you are looking for, or you like wearing, stylistically what's considered guys' clothing. Untuck It is fantastic, and it fits me really well even as a bigger guy, and I don't have to tuck in my button-down shirts. I'm not ready to start tucking like any shirt into my jeans yet. I know that's like the next dad move probably for me, but I'm not ready for that yet. Now, if you are not a guy and you like wearing not guys' clothes, Stitch Fix is a great subscription box service that they seem to get it right every time. I've had people kind of rave about Stitch Fix, including my wife. I got it for her for Christmas one year. She had it for a while and loved it. Now her wardrobe is pretty full, but she absolutely loved it. And they started off specifically for women, but now they have boxes for men and kids too. So Stitch Fix is something I've heard lots of good stuff about. As far as comfortable unmentionables, Mack Weldon. Seriously, Mack Weldon. You maybe, if you listen to a lot of podcasts, you've probably heard of Mack Weldon. Their boxer briefs and undershirts. I don't want to give too much. I don't want to be TMI here, but God, they are so comfortable, and they last a long time too. This was something that I was concerned about because I did have MeUndies, and I still recommend MeUndies, but their initial run of kind of modal underoos, they broke down for me a lot. Mack Weldon's Arc Knit boxer briefs are amazing, and they make like longer ones, like 9-inch or so, that are great for travel, like super comfortable. Their undershirts are great. So I'm a big fan. And Mack Weldon is another company that targets men. So for women, I would recommend MeUndies. Again, super comfortable stuff. I can't vouch for any of their underwear and stuff because I haven't worn the women's underwear stuff, but it's made from the same material as the boxer briefs, and I'm a big fan. Socks, Darn Tough socks are the best socks ever. They're super warm, but they don't make your feet sweat. It's weird magic. Love them. And then I'd also recommend a good pair of slippers. I have a pair of LL Bean slippers that I really like, but Mack Weldon just put out a pair of slippers that I'm probably going to get soon, so I'll report back on that. So those are kind of the home comfort stuff. For the office, some ideas. Home decor or office decor. Decorating a home office can be a lot of fun. I like a lot of what Ugmonk makes. I have a few of his prints hanging up in my office. His name is Jeff. The company is Ugmonk. But I've also been big into national parks print lately. I went to visit Rocky Mountain National Park last year, and my wife got me like the official Rocky Mountain National Park Boulder Field Shelter cabin print and framed it, and it's hanging on my wall. And it's beautiful. So I have a lot of Star Wars prints up in my office. I'm a big Star Wars fan, but I'm trying to balance that out with less Star Wars and Disney stuff and more like other things that interest me. And the Parks print stuff is really good. Parksproject.com is the website parksproject.us. This will be in the show notes. Parksproject.us is a good place. They make some really cool kind of US national parks prints. And I like Star Wars wall art too. But, that's very subjective. So think about the person that you are shopping for and what they like. But a gift card to get some print stuff, or even a gift card for Michaels or AC Moore or something like that, to just have some artwork framed so they can buy the artwork, but the framing is usually the expensive part. So if you can help with that, that would go a long way too. A good desk chair, again, this is another highly subjective thing. I have a Steelcase chair. They're super expensive, but I am sitting in my chair 8 to 10 hours a day. I'm standing at my standing desk right now. But a good chair is super important, especially if you work from home, because, you might spend a little extra time in your office. Not that I'm saying you should, but I do when I want to. And if I have some downtime and my wife's at work and my daughter's napping, I'll come into my office. So and the point is I spend a lot of time in my chair. So a good chair is important. If you're looking for something more affordable than Steelcase, HON, HON chairs seem to be pretty popular. They're sold at Staples, but you can also get them on Amazon. And if you're shopping for somebody who does have a standing desk, an anti-fatigue mat is a great gift. I have the Topo mat. That's the one that's recommended by Fully, which is where I bought my desk. The Imprint Cumulus Pro looks really nice, though. I think I'm going to get that next. The Topo mat has seen its fair share of standing and is ripping in some areas. And the Cumulus Pro seems to take up less space. So those are one of those two mats is one I would recommend. And then for this is a fun geeky one, but for automation, for office automation, you could do some cool things in your home office, right? So one thing that's super affordable, you can get like $25 for $11 or something like that, is NFC tags. These are great. They're affordable. They're a way to automate certain things like turning on lights, starting playlists, and things like that. And now that Siri Shortcuts supports NFC tags, Android, I believe, has supported scanning NFC tags for a long time. These could be a lot of fun for a home office. I have one where I'll kind of put my phone down on it and like the lights can turn on, or some other things. I have one in my car where I scan it when I get to the Y, and then like my whole gym routine starts. Now, if you are trying to get somebody to a point where they can start automating things, Wemo smart plugs are a really good way to get started with simple home automation. You plug it in and you get going. You don't have to install a wall outlet or anything like that. And the Wemo smart plugs that I recommend work with Alexa, with Google, and with Apple's HomeKit. So I can control these devices from any of my devices that I talk to. I can activate my Amazon tin can friend or my phone lady and have them turn on the lights. And then finally, I would recommend if they don't have something like this already, an Amazon Echo or a Sonos One. Those are both pretty affordable. I mean, the Amazon Echo is like $30. Pretty affordable smart home listening devices. We got my parents one for Christmas 2 years ago, and they love it. Like, we got them an Echo Show and we got them a regular Echo, and they love it. So, the Sonos one especially is great because you can listen to good music, or you can bark orders at it because it has Alexa built in. So that is the smart home stuff. Looking at my list here, let's see: home decor, office stuff, coffee, clothes, fantastic. So let's talk about the tech gear. This is the stuff that I'm most interested in, of course. And backups and storage is a good place to start. A lot of people don't think about backups until it's too late. I know that I was like that for a while. Now I have a crazy backup strategy. I'll link to the blog post I wrote about how that crazy backup strategy saved me from losing like 15 years of photos. But an external hard drive is a really good practical gift, especially if your loved one has a Mac. Time Machine could not be easier to set up. So I have a Western Digital MyBook. That's what I use, but any external hard drive is going to be fine. I have an 8 terabyte model. I think a 4 terabyte model is perfectly fine. So that's a really nice practical gift. Also, Backblaze for cloud offsite backups. There's a rule. I think it's the 3-2-1 rule. It's like you need your data on 3 devices, 2 different mediums, 1 offsite. Backblaze is like $60 a year or something like that for unlimited backups of a single device. And that has saved my bacon a lot. So I would recommend Backblaze. If you gift it or just give them a gift card or set up an account for them, Backblaze is really good. And then there's also like portable hard drives. With like Dropbox or like other cloud services, there's less need for these, but I always have a flash drive in my bag when I need it. So those are the things that I would recommend for backup stuff. I also have a NAS, network area storage. This is probably overkill. If someone doesn't think they need a NAS, then they're probably not going to know why or what to do with it. They're a lot of fun for tech nerds, but for the general person who works from home in your life, an external hard drive is going to be good, or a subscription to Backblaze, some sort of cloud or offsite backup is going to be just fantastic. And if it ever comes in handy where they use it, they will love you for the rest of their life. Other tech stuff to think about, I have a whole section in the work from home gift guide about smartphone gear. I'll just kind of list them off really quickly. Wireless chargers. I love Qi chargers. Like I could just put my phone down someplace and have it charge. So a Qi charger is really good. I link to a couple. A good case. Cases are pretty subjective. People either don't care about the case they have, or they care deeply about it. So I always recommend Peel. I have the Caudable Lucid Clear one now. It's a little bit thicker than the Peel case for my new phone. It's got pretty good drop protection. I just got my wife a clear case from Tech 21 that has drop protection of up to 10 feet, and she is a phone assassin. So Tech 21 makes pretty colorful cases too. So that's maybe if you know somebody who just assassinates phones, then a Tech 21. If you don't want to get them the OtterBox, which is just like a behemoth, Tech 21 is like pretty felt for such a protective case. Extra power, portable power is, I think, another, for somebody who works from home, they might not need this, but maybe if they're like me, they travel a lot, or if you travel a lot, they go to conferences, on trips, they can work from anywhere. So having extra power is pretty important. Anker, in my opinion, is the best in the business. I have a few Anker chargers I would recommend. The PowerCore Slim, they just came out with it in midnight green, which is the same color as my iPhone Pro. So of course I picked that one up, but it's really good. It's got USB-C and USB on it. It can fully charge. It fully charged my iPad Pro at least once. I haven't done the test, but it's pretty fast. It works really well if you need it in a pinch, and it's super slim. I also have the Anker PowerCore Plus 26800 PD 45 watt. It's like, that's a terrible name, but it's a giant battery that can charge a laptop. It's a beast. It is always in my travel bag. I once used it on a week-long trip to charge my iPhone at night because the outlet wasn't accessible, or easily accessible at least. And I never had to recharge that battery. So it lasted me the flight, it lasted me the whole week that I was there, and then it lasted me the flight home. So it's great if you need a lot of power in a relatively small package. They also have a wall charging 5-port hub. So traveling with a lot of devices gets a lot easier with something like that in your bag. I'll usually plug that hub into the wall and then plug all of my devices into it. So it's a nice a nice kind of compact way to have all of your devices in one spot. There's also, Anker just put this out, a 30 watt, I think they're calling it a PIC 3. It's a super slim 30 watt USB-C wall charger. It's a plug, but the plug folds in. It's maybe like as thick as a slim wallet, but a lot thinner than like those bricks that most devices come with. And so I've been using that to plug my laptop in or my iPad in. So I'm a big fan of that. And then just cables in general, Lightning to USB, Lightning to USB-C, USB-C to USB-C, or USB-A to USB-C are all safe bets for travel cables if you're looking. And like the nylon braided ones are good quality, can survive a travel bag. I have like an assortment of charging batteries and stuff like that, and cables, especially when I'm traveling with my wife and my family. I'm usually the guy who is supplying the cables, and so having a bunch on me is really important. Let's talk about some analog tools, right? I just talked about digital or computer related tools, but let's talk about some fun stuff. I'm a bag addict. I buy a new bag probably every year. And I just this year picked up the Nomadic backpack. Now, from the time I bought my last bag to this one, it was a while, but I decided I wanted a new one for a big travel season I had earlier in the year. I needed something big, but not too big, with space and pockets that was TSA friendly. And the Nomadic backpack ticked all of the boxes for me. It's durable, it's like waterproof, it's super flexible. There's lots of places to store all of my gear, all of the chargers and stuff I just mentioned fit perfectly in this backpack. And the big thing for me, it's a 20 milliliter backpack. This is how backpacks are measured, by size in milliliters, I guess. And it expands to 30. So there's like a zipper that makes it bigger, so it can, which I love because it's big enough and it can get bigger. So the Nomadic backpack, that's Nomatic. I've been using it for about 6 months now. Love it. My daily, like if I'm going out to a coffee shop or something like that, there are one of two bags I use. One is the eBags Professional Slim Laptop Backpack. It's smaller. It's got a lot of compartments. But if you're going to a conference or you need to like pack overnight, it's not great for that. It fits like my laptop and an iPad and then all of my miscellaneous electronics, but it's really slim and really nice. It's like a good office, quote unquote, backpack. So I really love that. That's the eBags Professional Slim Laptop Backpack. As I record this, eBags is having like a 40% off sale, so check them out. And then if I want a messenger bag, just something to throw a few things in, I have the Peak Design Everyday Messenger. I used to change messenger bags pretty frequently. I got the Peak Design Everyday Messenger before I went on my honeymoon to Italy. This bad boy was super durable. It's the only messenger bag I've used since, so big fan of that. I also have a travel grid for all of those cables I just rattled off. This is really nice because I can easily move this travel grid between my bags. There's one for like $11 on Amazon that has a bunch of pouches and cable slots and stuff like that. And I just put all of the cables I think I'm going to need into this grid, and then I could slip that into whatever bag I'm using for the day. And then the last kind of travel thing that I would recommend is a Yeti tumbler of sorts. A good travel mug or drinking vessel is clutch, and I love the stuff Yeti makes. They keep hot drinks hot, they keep cold drinks cold, so you can't go wrong. And plus they have like different lid attachments depending on what you want to drink. So like if it's like iced coffee or whatever, they have like a straw. If it's like, you can have like the sippy lid, or you can have like a twist on lid. So really, I think a very flexible drinking system. So I have like the 20-ounce tumbler and I love it. And then there's like pens, papers, and stuff as far as analog tools go. I won't cover those here, but those are in the gift guide. I always have a pen and a notebook on me. The last few things I want to talk about is relaxing at home, right? Because if you work from home, you have the flexibility to just kind of chill in the middle of the day if you're like not being productive, or getting out of the house. So relaxing at home, the things that I like to do when I need like a break, I'll play my Nintendo Switch or my Xbox. If you know somebody who has those, there are a bunch of games that I could recommend, but that's something to think about. Or there's also a bunch of media subscriptions, right? So Netflix or Disney Plus just came out. That's really good. YouTube Premium for if they just want to hang out in front of the TV. I have a humidifier on my list because you're always in an office and it gets stuffy, and like maybe you can hear it in my voice a little bit now, but something to clean the air would be really nice. I have an air purifier, a humidifier to keep. I have an air purifier, and then conversely, we have a humidifier. So again, if you're like always in the same office and maybe the airflow is not good, getting some fresh air, some moisture in the air is super helpful. And then finally, for somebody who works from home, I might recommend HelloFresh. Working from home can mean it's tough to leave the house. And a meal box subscription is the perfect way of saying you don't have to DoorDash everything. So there are a lot of meal boxes out there, but I've heard the best things about HelloFresh. We did a trial of it. It was fine. We did a trial of Blue Apron. It was fine. These are especially good for households of like 1 or 2, though. Like, it can get pretty expensive if you're feeding a family from HelloFresh 3 times a week. But it is a nice alternative, especially for someone like me who hates grocery shopping. So there's HelloFresh. And then, of course, you should encourage your loved one who works from home to get out of the house. A co-working space membership is good. So there's a map. I linked to a map where you can find a local co-working space to your area. Get them a membership there. Treat them to dinner or send them to a movie. Some other fun things that you could do to get them out of the house. Try an escape room. They are very popular. Find a bed and breakfast. I'm a cigar smoker, so if a local cigar lounge would be great, or wine tasting, gym or club membership. Just something to do to get the person out of the house would be really good. And I think that's basically everything. I kind of ran through. I guess I didn't run through very quickly. This is a standard length episode, but there was a lot of stuff that we covered here. I will link to both gift guides. Again, the link for this episode will be howibuilt.it/gifts. That's GIFTS. Both gift guides will be there and a few other things. But these are just some ideas. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns about the gift guides, feel free to reach out. And actually, as I prepare for 2020, I do want to get your feedback on what you want to learn and who you want to learn from. So if you go to howibuilt.it/feedback, then a feedback form will be there. I'd love to hear from you. Man, there's no sponsors to thank in this episode. There's no guests to thank. Just a bunch of gifts and interesting ideas as we approach the holidays. So remember howibuilt.it/gifts for everything we talked about here. If you want to win some cool stuff, including the Rode Pod mic, head over to howibuilt.it/giveaway. And I want to hear from you over at howibuilt.it/feedback. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, get out there and build something.